So with that, I would like to turn this over to Chris O'Gara, who's our lead engineer on the design, to provide you with an update on where we are in the baseline definition of this conceptual alignment that we are carrying forward in the conversation, not only about ridership, but ultimately about costs and other things associated with the opportunity for the development of the project. Chris?
Hey, everybody. Welcome. I'd like to talk a little bit about the conceptual alignment here. Let's go to next slide, Tiffany. Overall, the project objectives, we're looking at a concept here to address the community needs, look at, being directed by what the commissioners are telling us. The RTC is directing us for the future of the region, both in the passenger rail service and in operations. So let's go ahead and go to the next slide. So throughout the project concept and timeline here, we've been working for quite a few months on a conceptual alignment. We've been looking at various different alternatives from Watsonville through West Santa Cruz. Generally, our overall criteria for looking at the alignment is identified on the screen. We're trying to stay within the existing rail corridor where feasible. We are looking to accommodate the already constructed and future rail trail project segments 8 through 12. In addition, we're accommodating the future rail trail project segment 11, phase 2, and trail segments 13 through 20 as part of this ZEPRT project. Throughout this design process, it's sort of an iterative process, but we're conducting a rail trail alternatives analysis and some of the locations throughout the corridor. We've been interested or considering potential right-of-way conflicts in the Capitola area, locations with potential operations conflicts in Watsonville along Walker Street and in Santa Cruz along Beach Street, and then locations with bridge and environmental impacts like the Seascape area along Sumner, Hidden Beach, and Bush Gulch area. So let's go to the next slide, please. Okay, so some of the areas that we're talking about for the rail trail alternatives analysis, here on the screen, we have the Watsonville Beach Street Bike Trail. So the original concept, I think, or a concept, is to study the rail trail inside the existing rail corridor. There's some constraints with operations due to the industry in that area and operating freight service for the existing sidings and the people in that location. So we've discussed with the city of Watsonville potential realignment of the trail along Beach Street, up Beach Street towards the downtown area, running along Beach Street to Rodriguez Street, potentially down towards the Ahua River on the levee, and then across and back into the railroad right-of-way. In the Capitola area, we have a segment from 47th to around Thompson Street, the Jade Park area, with constrained right-of-way width and some encroachments. So we've looked at a couple different alternatives shown on the screen here. One out along Jade Park and along Brommer Street, back down to Thompson and into the railroad right-of-way, and then one along Nova Drive, and then across and kind of weaving through some of the streets back down to Thompson Avenue. And then at the Seascape area, the trail to the west of this image here is in the railroad right-of-way, but at Hidden Beach, we've looked at a possibility of constructing a trail bridge that allows the trail to leave the railroad right-of-way and head out to Sumner Avenue along the, I guess it would be the coastal, the west curb face there, run south through the seascape area down to the end, and then back into the railroad right-of-way. Let's go to the next slide, please. So throughout this study as well, we're looking at areas that are susceptible to sea level rise. And we've identified a few different areas along the alignment, and they're noted here. The Pajaro River Rail Bridge, there is projects interested in raising the levees along the Pajaro River due to the flooding in Pajaro. And we're looking at options to raise the track over the Pajaro River, raise the rail bridge, and then the rail alignment along Walker Street. Harkins Slough area, we're looking at an option to potentially raise the track through Harkins Slough on a viaduct to reduce the impacts through the slough. La Selva and Manresa Bluffs, the area there is due to bluff erosion. We've considered an option to move the rail alignment slightly inland, considering the future bluff erosion. And then Capitola Bluffs, we're looking at options on how to keep the rail alignment through that corridor, considering bluff erosion. So the RTC will be conducting a separate climate resiliency study, and then through that study, a lot of these options will sort of shake out, and we'll come up with ways to address these areas. So let's go to the next slide, please. So along in the Watsonville area, as you're heading west over the Pajaro River along Walker Street, the existing condition has track running in the roadway. So there are some constraints with access in and out of the adjacent properties along Walker Street. Some safety concerns right now. There's the occasional freight service in the future with the ZEPRT project. There will be freight service, but there will also be a number of passenger trains coming through this area as well. So we've been working with the city of Watsonville to come up with a couple different alternatives through this location. One of the latest alternatives we've been looking at is potentially shifting the track alignment to the east edge, the east sort of curb side along Walker Street, in a sort of a new dedicated rail corridor, potentially having two-way roadway traffic along the west side of Walker Street. And then we've identified a couple different options for station locations in the area. One at the depot, the old depot location, and then one in the block between Beach Street and 2nd Avenue, I believe it is. One of the things to note about what we're calling Watsonville Station Option 1, the location at the depot, the platform needs to be on a tangent or a straight track segment. Right now, this image isn't showing that, but if we were to move forward with that option, we would have to do some more track realignment and to introduce a straight segment in that area for the platform. Let's go to the next slide, please. In Aptos, the Aptos Village area, we're looking, I guess there's an ongoing parallel project to ours called the Auxiliary Lane and Bus on Shoulder project for Highway 1. That project is proposing to replace the two rail bridges one on the north and one on the south side of Aptos. And in doing so, in order to create the required vertical clearance from the bottom of the bridge structure to the roadway finish grade. It's requiring the track top of rail to be raised considerably at both of these locations. So what we're doing is we're looking at how to accommodate these Highway 1, the rail bridge replacements and the track raise. Because of them, we're looking at how to accommodate the profile and the alignment geometry through downtown Aptos and the adjacent neighboring areas. Some of the things we're looking at are the bridges on either side here of town, the roadway at Soquel, and the future Aptos station. Next slide, please. So as we head west at the New Brighton State Park area, our baseline alignment is considering our track alignment to stay within the existing rail corridor. We have identified what we're calling the Cabrillo station along New Brighton Road, I believe it is, the station platform will be at grade, and we're considering a pedestrian connection across Highway 1 to the Cabrillo College. We've done some alternatives analysis here as well, considering a couple different alternatives to raise the track on an aerial viaduct, bringing the railroad closer to Highway 1, and moving the station out closer to Highway 1. There's some concerns with some environmental constraints and costs perhaps, but we're continuing to look at all options through this area. Next slide, please. And then as we get to Santa Cruz and the Beach Street and the Boardwalk area, we've identified 4 different alternatives based on 2 different horizontal alignments. And they're shown here on the screen. The red alignment has an aerial and an at-grade option attached to it. And the yellow alignment has an aerial and at-grade profile attached to that alignment. The red alignment considers the existing track alignment across the San Lorenzo River, with the track staying in the existing corridor under the log ride, and then shifting out in towards Beach Street in between the boardwalk and Beach Street, and then running down in front of the boardwalk until it gets past Cliff Street, where it then shifts to the coastal side adjacent to the existing bike lane, and then stays in that area, I guess that location along that segment of Beach Street until it reaches Pacific Avenue. The alignment for alternatives 3 and 4, we are looking at adjusting the bearing of the bridge over San Lorenzo River and shifting the track approximately 20 feet to, I think it's the east of the column of the log ride out into Beach Street. And then the rail alignment will sort of hug that curb line existing trail location along Beach Street, where it runs west down towards Cliff, and then enters the same corridor that we have for alternatives 1 and 2, adjacent to the existing trail on the coastal side. I think that's about it for this one. I think we can go to the next slide, please. Next slide. And I think that's about it for the alignment alternative. I think I'll turn it back to Tiffany for next steps.